I'm joined here by Zach King, the king of Vine, who has more than 2 million followers on Vine as of last night here in Hong Kong, and more than 100 million views of his YouTube videos. Zach has made a career now as a creator, influencer, and it's great to have you here, Zach, to talk about both your career as a creator. First of all, how did you make your start in Vine?
I started Vine in 2013, just in September, so I've been on the platform a little over a year now, and it's been exciting to see so much growth. Actually just hit 2 million followers last night while here in Hong Kong, so that was really exciting. But yeah, just in 1 year hitting that number of growth and reaching the audience that I can reach through that platform, it's what's really kept me there, and the audience is so engaging. So it's been fun to develop content for a 7-second section of time, which in the beginning was really difficult to do. But in doing that, I've seen so much reward and growth in my storytelling, even in longer formats when I do a 5-minute YouTube video.
So you first began with YouTube.
Yeah, I started in YouTube about 6 years ago, and that was fun too, because I was starting by teaching people Final Cut and how to actually edit and become filmmakers. And it was in my middle of film school that people were like, hey, will you start posting your work? We want to see what you're actually doing for film school. And then after I started posting those videos, they were kind of what you see in the Vine formats, a little bit of magic, but they were in longer format. And they captured a lot of people's attention and kind of more mainstream.
Why did you do magic?
I felt like Vine was such a short format that I could pull off kind of one trick in that 6 to 7 seconds. And so that allowed me to kind of play with all these ideas I had in my head, like ideas that necessarily didn't work in longer format things that were kind of too random. But I could take those and place them in a really small, simple story and do a bunch of those.
What goes into making a good Vine? A Vine is just 6 seconds long. How much video do you take in order to make a good quality Vine?
A lot of time and footage and different takes go into making one Vine for me. Sometimes I'll spend 4 to 5 hours just filming. Like today on the train, we were shooting for 3 hours, just trying to get the right take to use so that I can go edit that.
3 hours of shooting for 6 seconds.
Right, for 6 seconds. And sometimes it goes much longer, and we'll prep for 1 or 2 days. When I first started, it was like 30 minutes, and now it's like slowly they've gotten more complex and taking way more time.
When did you start working with brands, and what was that experience like?
My first experience with brand work came at the end of 2013, just a couple months after I started. And the first one was a Penske, and they're an American truck company, and they're a moving truck. And their brief was really simple for me. It was just go out and do something with our truck, and kind of like the sky's the limits, do what you do best, and use our truck in the video. And so I did 3 videos over Christmas time, and those were probably my favorite brand stuff that I've done, just because they gave me the freedom, they just let me loose, and we got to create, and they did really well for both of us.
What are the challenges of working with brands?
The challenge right now with working with brands is kind of teaching them how to work with influencers like myself, and trying to tell them, like, this is how the process works. This is it has to be a collaboration. It's something that's for my audience, because they're there for a reason. They're following my work because they've seen it time and time again of what they enjoy. So I have to cater to my audience at the same time catering to the brand and trying to get what their campaign's all about. So it's kind of like you have to meet in the middle.
You create your Vines for your audience. Is there a risk that in working for a brand, you're going to lose that very audience?
My theory is if you make content that you're used to making, your audience is used to seeing, and you pair it with a brand and you do it in a cool way, I think the audience will respond well. It's like making, they're watching an ad, but they're watching it with their favorite Instagram follower or Viner. Like, they love seeing you in the McDonald's world or whatever brand it could be. As long as it is cool and it's still your style, I think you could fall into the selling out label very quickly if you just do stuff for money or random promotions. It really comes down to the beginning stages where I think the brands need to really evaluate if this influencer is someone they want to pair with. A lot of times I would say to brands, like, I don't think we would work well together, honestly, and I don't think it's really the match that they're looking for, because...
So you've said no to brands?
Yeah, definitely, because I want it to be a win-win for me and for them as well. Like, if I don't feel like my audience is maybe the right audience for what they're looking for, or they're asking too much for me to vary from my style, then it definitely has to be turned down, because it is at the end about my audience and what they're seeing.
Are there brands that are more or less relevant or easier or more difficult for you to work with by the nature of that brand?
I love working with physical products. I love doing stuff with cars where I can jump in them, or there's so much I can play around with. So definitely having a physical, whether it's food, an automobile, or just having an environment to play with, that's really fun for me.
That gives you creative space.
Yeah, definitely. I just did some clothing vines, and those were fun because I got to play with like physical elements, and you also have great sounds of like the whooshes and the fabric. So that helps a lot.
You've gone from YouTube to Vine to what next?
Yeah, right now I'm experimenting a lot with Instagram. Actually, last night I uploaded a video. That was my most liked video within 24 hours. I got about 170,000 likes, and it was really cool because we tailored that content just for Instagram, like specifically a 14-second video that would fit on Instagram, and we integrated the like button on Instagram and how it creates the heart, and then I pull the heart from the screen, and so it was a cool interaction just for that platform. And I think we're going to be doing more stuff tailored for each app, and then also playing around with Snapchat.
What have you found about Snapchat?
Yeah, Snapchat, I'm just very early stages, just kind of growing a following and seeing what they respond to. One way to test that for me is I'll create a video on Snapchat, and if people are tweeting about it more than another video on a Snapchat, then I'll kind of see, okay, people really liked something in that 10-second story that I did. Let's keep going with that for future.
What is it that inspires you to work on one platform versus another platform?
One thing I really look for in platforms is the shareability, because, and it's what we were talking about last night with creating content for Snapchat. It's hard for me because I put so much time into it, and then all of a sudden it disappears in 24 hours. So I love to have platforms like Instagram where you can share and people can tag their friends in the comments, or Vine where you can tweet out the video or share it on your profile. That's a cool way to create kind of a quicker growth for the content that we're making.
Thank you very much, Zach. Great to hear your view on creativity, Vine, and building audiences in social media.